So very warm welcome to everybody to the Railways session. Afternoon sessions are rather difficult. We can understand that. I'm sure you all have had a good lunch and very nice of you to come back here promptly on time. And as Railways, one of the important rules is to be on time. So we are going to start. Let me do a quick introduction of our very esteemed panelists, some of whom have traveled a long way to be with us here today. So first of all, on my immediate left is Mr. Markus Roesner. Markus has had a very distinguished career in the railways. He started with the German Railways, and he's been with the Asian Development Bank for 16 years. He's worked on some very flagship projects, including in the Philippines and Bangladesh, and we'll be hearing and discussing some of these projects today. So very warm welcome to you, Markus. Next to Markus is Mr. Vinay Kumar Singh. He's an old colleague from the Indian Railways, where he started his career. He's since then held many important positions in the railway system, including the high-speed railway system, which India is developing, the Delhi Metro, which is a major metro system in India. And till very recently, he was the managing director of NCRTC, which is the National Capital Region Transport Corporation, tasked with building India's first regional rapid transit system. So very warm welcome to you, sir. Thank you. Then next to him is Mr. Siddique. Mr. Siddique is from the very prestigious Indian Administrative Service. During his distinguished career, he's held very important positions in Government of India and Government of Tamil Nadu, which is a state in southern India, and he belongs to the Tamil Nadu cadre. I think since 2021, he has been the managing director for Chennai Metro. Chennai Metro, for everybody's information, is a major metro system being developed in the city of Chennai, which is a mega city, huge population. And this is a massive undertaking, and we'll be discussing some of the features of this system with Mr. Siddique. So very warm welcome to you, sir. Next to Mr. Siddique is Mr. Wohab. Mr. Wohab has had a very long and distinguished career in the military. He's a civil engineer by training, and he's worked on several international projects in Kuwait and Sudan, and also in Bangladesh. He's currently the project director for Line 5 in Dhaka. Dhaka is, again, building a very, very elaborate metro system, urban rail system. And Line 5 is one of these lines, a very ambitious project. And we'll be discussing this with Mr. Wohab. Thank you very much, sir, for traveling here. Next, I'd like to introduce Ms. Karma Yangzom. Karma is the Principal Environment Specialist in ADB. She's been working on the environmental safeguards, environmental conservation for a long, long time. I think she's supported more than 50 transport projects and some very flagship and difficult projects with a lot of ecological sensitivities. So we'll be talking about some of the innovative conservation techniques, etc., with Karma. Karma, many thanks for joining us. Last, but certainly not the least, is Ms. Maria Fini. Maria belongs to a very, very big company called Mermec, which is very big in railway technologies. She is currently holding the position of key account manager, overseeing stakeholders in many, many big developmental projects. And Mermec Group itself, I think many of you may be familiar about the various work they are doing in promoting and developing cutting-edge railway technologies. And we look forward to hearing about that from Maria. Thank you very much, Maria, for joining us. So I think to set the ball rolling, let me just offer some reflections before I turn over to our esteemed panel. And I think the title of this session is quite interesting. The organizers have aptly called it Railways for Decarbonized Transport. And essentially, I think the message is that railways can be an important and essential subgroup, subsector that we need to develop, that we need to really nurture in order to achieve our decarbonizing goals for transport. Now, the reality is that railway is about 6 to 7% of modal share when it comes to whether it's passenger kilometers or freight kilometers. The emissions for railways as a percentage of transport emissions are only 1%. So clearly a reasonable size modal share, but very low emissions. And clearly if the modal share was to go up, then we would be certainly on our way to achieving decarbonization of transport. That's a huge challenge, but we see big opportunities in many of the railway systems, including urban rail. And I think that's why we have so many people representing the urban rail projects. These are some mega projects which will make a big difference in the emissions profile in these countries, in these cities, and we'll be talking about that. I think, of course, technology can also play a big role, and technology can not only improve the throughput, etc., of these railway systems, but can also contribute to solving many of the challenges. And we'll be talking about some of the very difficult environment and so forth challenges which have been overcome with technology. So all of that to be covered in our panel discussion of 90 minutes. So let's see how we get there. I'll turn over to our first panelist, which is Markus. And Markus is our Director for Railways. I think within ADB's new operating model, in its reorganization, ADB has created a separate division, a separate unit for railways, placing a huge importance to this particular subsector. And Markus heads that. So Markus, in your view, you're looking at projects across the region, you're looking at developments across the region. How's this subsector shaping up? Could you give your perspectives?
Yep, thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you very much, Jared, for the introduction. Yeah, Asian Development Bank, as part of the new operating model, created this railway unit as part of the shift, climate shift, which is one of the four major targets or the major shifts in this moving into the new operating model, is recognizing the growing and continuously growing need from our developing countries in supporting railway and urban, suburban projects. We do this together, railway projects for the backbone, high capacity transportation, together with our smart mobility team, which is focusing on e-mobility, on public urban transport improvement. Major trends, I think we see it already by the panel. We are going into larger projects, mega projects, flagship projects for the countries. We are financing, like here in the Philippines, this north-south commuter railway by a total of $7 billion. We have preparing financing for the Dhaka metro project. The Delhi May Road RRTS is ongoing. Chennai metro is ongoing. We are preparing a couple of metro projects in India and in Jakarta. So metros, suburban transport, definitely one of the huge demand from our developing countries, and also an area where we do good cooperation with other developing agencies in developing these projects jointly. Another area is the expansion of existing railway networks. Decarbonization, one trend is, of course, to shift people from road to rail. So higher demand will come to the railway networks, to the railway systems. And these also require increasing the capacity, double tracking, electrification. So we are preparing a couple of projects for financing, like in Azerbaijan, double tracking, in Turkmenistan, upgrading, rehabilitation of the railway. In Uzbekistan is electrification of different railway lines. In Bangladesh, we had a series of double tracking projects. Now we are moving into financing dual gauge conversion to further enhance the capacity there. The line to Chittagong, connecting to a new destination within the country, has just been inaugurated last December. So that's another important area, like upgrading and further developing existing railways, also with a focus on regional connectivity between countries. And the third area is then in the area of more innovative digitization, like improving the signaling together with improving the organization of running the trains in a more coordinated way on the network-wide view through operation control, centralized, computerized operation control centers, and the way of improving the efficiency in the railways by accounting systems or by establishing like a better ticketing system, which not only increase the revenue, but also provide a huge data source for the future planning of the traffic. Yeah. Thank you.
Fascinating. Thank you very much, Markus. That was a very, very good account of the vast amount of work that ADB is supporting in the railway sector. I think you mentioned 3 big trends, apart from the national projects, also regional cooperation, and also a big support for digital technologies and modernizing of these railway systems. Now, I think Markus mentioned quite a few of the flagship projects that ADB has been supporting. And next, I think before we talk to Mr. VK Singh, we'd like to show you a video of one of these projects. This is the Delhi-Meerut Regional Rapid Transit System, which is coming up in India's National Capital Region. So please check out this video, and it'll give you a flavor of what this project is all about.
National Capital Region, or NCR, is the largest urban agglomeration in India and centered around India's capital city, New Delhi, and encompasses several surrounding districts. With a total population of more than 46 million that is spread over an area of over 58,000 square kilometers, NCR generates nearly 8% of India's GDP. However, most of the socio-economic development of NCR has been centered around Delhi, which accounts for 37% of the total population of NCR, while covering less than 5% of the NCR area. With Delhi projected to be the most populous city in the world in 2028, there will be tremendous pressure on its infrastructure that will cost 12% of Delhi's GDP in terms of air pollution, fatalities, wasted fuel, and reduced productivity. Thus, there is a need to shift to polycentric developmental approach where surrounding parts within NCR are able to absorb this pressure from Delhi. The Functional Plan on Transport for NCR 2032 has identified 8 regional rapid transit systems, RRTS, corridors to connect the towns in NCR with high-speed rail-based commuter transit services. 3 regional rapid transit system corridors, Delhi-Meerut, Delhi-Alwar, and Delhi-Panipat, will be developed under Phase 1, with Sarai Kale Khan as the common station. The first corridor connecting Delhi to Meerut will span a distance of 82 kilometers and have world-class transport infrastructure supporting average speeds of 100 kilometers per hour. It is expected to reduce the travel time from 3.5 hours to about 1 hour. Asian Development Bank will co-finance the capital expenditure and envisages a 3-pronged outcome from the project: commissioning the Delhi-Meerut RRTS corridor, strengthening the institutional capacity of NCRTC, improving mobility and economic opportunities for women and differently abled. ADB will provide finance plus support that will include building multimodal integrated station, technical assistance for exploring transit-oriented development, and selection of a shadow operator. The project will have well-lit and CCTV cameras, supervised coaches, and public areas in all stations, as well as patrolling by security guards to ensure safety of women. Further, mobility, visual, and hearing assistive aids will be provided to 1,000 differently abled persons. Overall, the project is expected to have a substantial demonstration effect and pave the way for integrated mobility and sustainable development of NCR.
So, Mr. Singh, if I can turn to you, I think that's a very impressive project by any standards, and we'd love to hear, of course, more about it. I think one question that comes to mind, of course, is that India does have a fairly elaborate railway system. There are metros being developed, but this project does appear to be unique in its own right. So please talk a bit more about the special features of this project and what are the envisaged benefits that this will deliver.
Thank you, Sharad. See, India as of today has a national railway network. It has more than 15 metro systems all across, and which are supported by bus system, BRTS, and other kind of things. But what we lack is seriously intercity commute train. And these distances of say about 50 to 100 kilometers or so, especially around metropolitan cities or the bigger cities, there is a serious requirement of public transport because primarily people are dependent on private transport. And the way the number of cars and number of people who are commuting to these centers of economic activity, it is increasing leaps and bounds. Whatever infrastructure we provide on the road, it is getting congested within 4 to 5 years. And you see long lines of vehicles. So, but the government has come with this idea of providing digital rapid transit system, which is a rail-based system primarily with a design speed of 180 km per hour and a operating speed of 160 km per hour. What we finally get to a commercial speed is about 90 to 100 kilometers per hour depending upon interstation distances. Like one corridor is having an average speed of say about 85 kilometers per hour. The other corridor has about 95 kilometers per hour depending upon interstation distances. So these are electrified trains. This is a dedicated system. Important issues or the features of this system are primarily the system has been designed in a way that these 8 corridors, which will be having an investment of say about 40 billion in next 20 years or so. Primarily, we are starting with the all three are interoperable at one of the stations at the center of the Delhi. So trains can move from one corridor to another corridor of about 80 to 120 kilometers in length. Each station on this system has been provided with extensive multimodal integration so that people can move from one public transport to another seamlessly. And we have integrated airports, 2 airports as per the planning. One is being integrated very soon. And the connectivity with the Delhi Metro, the Gurgaon Metro, Meerut Metro, those kind of efforts are being made so that seamless movement is there. The one important issue which we are very particular about is reducing the carbon emission. So not only that we are utilizing the rooftops of stations and depots, but we are going for a dedicated power station also, which is basically solar based with a banking facility of hydro. So by that, we'll be able to cater about 60 to 70% of the traction energy, also through the renewable sources. One more very important aspect is that we are integrating a metro system in Meerut on the other side of the Delhi with the RRTS system. So that way on the RRTS infrastructure itself, we are utilizing same infrastructure by providing some additional metro stations where the metro trains can also use the same infrastructure. So that way, the benefit of moving people from one system to another is very, very high, and we'll be able to reduce the carbon footprint significantly. So the total, as per our estimates, the reduction in the carbon footprint will be almost like 1/10 in terms of, we see in the passenger kilometer terms, so from 50 gram to 5 gram per passenger kilometer. Thank you.
Fascinating, sir. It's truly, I think, a very remarkable project. And I think, as you explained, increasingly capital cities are facing this challenge of extreme congestion. And the only way to create sort of, or decongest these capital cities is to create systems like these, which allow people to live elsewhere and still commute to the capital. And I think, Markus, the Malolos Clark is another very similar example of such a project, and ADB is also supporting that project. Yeah, Mr. Siddique, if I can turn to you, and I think you are heading again and responsible for a mega project in a mega city, which is challenging in its own right. But interestingly also, we hear that the project is also winning accolades for its environmental measures. I believe you've received a very prestigious international award recently for carbon reduction measures. So perhaps share something about how this was accomplished and what were those measures which made you eligible for this award.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all. Just for an introduction, Chennai Metro Rail Limited actually already has 54 kilometers of operational metro rail network. Now we are adding another 19 kilometers of network, 118 kilometers of network at a cost of $7.5 billion. So it's a big project which is going on simultaneously for 3 lines in the city. So it poses its own challenges, as you know, and we are very conscious of building it in an environmental sustainable way, and we have throughout given very great importance to ensure that the designs itself is environmentally friendly to the extent possible. And then during the execution phase, we ensure that substantial alternatives to use of alternatives to cement is made. That is one of the major components of reducing carbon footprint, and use of more energy efficient equipment, materials in the construction stage. Apart from that, our focus has also been on reducing. We are doing a major project, so this obviously has its own costs, environment costs. We have had to cut down close to 4,800 trees, but we have a policy of ensuring that we try to save trees as many as possible by transplantation. That is one, the translocation. We have done so for about 1,080 plus translocations successfully, with fairly good survival rate of close to 83% for a translocation. Is very high. And as far as for every tree that is cut, we have a policy of planting at least another 12 saplings, which are well grown. At least we do the transplantation at least a year after year-old saplings, and because of that, our survival rate is very high. It's close to 93%. And each sapling, each tree is monitored, geotagged, and watched very carefully. And these things all add together. And we have also done a lot of, we are slightly, shall we say, environmental, not only conscious, rather extremist also to some extent. We have done some design changes also, adjustments and design changes to save trees, to increase the depth of all our station boxes to at least 4.5 meters, which earlier used to be just 1.5 meters, due to which the deep-rooted trees could not grow in many places. So that we have done changes in the designs even while execution, and so it's all combination of all these together have led to our Green Apple World Environmental Award here for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. That's really heartening to know that so many initiatives are being taken which are over and above the minimum required. And congratulations on this prestigious award for this project. We'll now show you a little video recording of the Director General of UIC, who was very keen to join this conference but couldn't owing to some reasons. But he has sent his recorded message. UIC is the International Union of Railways. Different countries, systems, different railway systems are members of UIC. UIC plays a very important role in setting railway standards and pushing the agenda for railway modernization all across the world. So let's hear this recorded message from Mr. Davenne, the Director General of UIC.
It's a great pleasure to be addressing you today, and I apologize that I could not be there with you in Manila in person. Today, transport is the fastest growing emissions of the combustion sectors at 18% between 2010 and 2018. And these emissions have bounced back higher than pre-pandemic levels. Asia has led this increase with highest regional growth of 36% between 2010 and 2021. Rail somehow is bucking this trend and is the only mode that has peaked its emission and has started to truly decarbonize through electrification, digitalization, and energy efficiency innovation. Decarbonizing transport will need changing the paradigm, promoting low energy transport modalities such as active mobilities, rail, and public transport. An actual transition out of fossil fuels is only possible with an approach that prioritizes solutions that avoid the need for motorized transport and shift to more sustainable modes. Asia has a diverse range of maturity of rail networks with a significant number of countries with dense and modern networks. China made a huge investment in rail during the last decades with the construction of 34,000 of high-speed lines in 20 years. And Indian network is almost entirely electrified and is integrating solar energy on a large scale. In contrast, many other countries still need a significant investment to modernize and expand their networks, with huge potential in Vietnam, Thailand, Myanmar, Laos, Malaysia, Bangladesh, and obviously the Philippines. In the region, freight needs stronger multimodal and combined transport to support the shift away from road to rail. Globally, rail has around 8% modal share and it is losing market share to road. But the International Energy Agency estimates that in the decade ahead, this trend must reverse and share must increase by over 40%, and freight logistic flows will need to exploit rail's potential more actively for us to achieve a net zero scenario. The International Energy Agency World Energy Outlook aims to a potential cumulatively reduction of 460 million tons of CO2 emission between now and 2050. Combine public transport, rail with walking and cycling, we make cities more livable and equitable. We reduce road fatalities, we free up space, improve air quality, public health, create decent jobs, and obviously reduce congestion and prevent urban sprawl. UIC promotes 3 key enablers to support more trains. First, specific targets to increase rail, public transport, and active travel, clear policy at every level, including national determined contributions. We have to know that only 1/4 of second-generation NDCs feature rail. Version 3.0 must integrate ambitions for transforming transport, including rail investment for avoided emission. Second, policy and fiscal system that globally incentivize rail and public transport as well as active mobilities. Third, investment. Climate finance has to be used for more trains and track for people. Investment shall digitalize, electrify, expand, better connect and modernize networks. To achieve its full potential, the investment scale is estimated at around $300 billion that are needed each year until 2030. These are most needed in low and middle income countries, especially those landlocked, where sustainable economic growth can be driven by low emission mobility. I then wish you a fruitful event today with a lot of crucial discussions. And once again, I apologize not being with you today. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to deliver this speech. Thank you very much.
So very interesting words from the Director General of UIC. I think, as he said in the beginning, transport emissions are rising, particularly in Asia, but fortunately for us, railways is bucking the trend, railways is decarbonizing, and there is still a lot of work to be done, a lot of opportunities in low and middle income countries. So I think we will now turn to one such example, which is certainly bucking the trend, which is certainly changing the course of things, and that is the Dhaka Metro project. Dhaka, for those of you who are familiar with the city, is an extremely densely populated, highly congested city. Travel times are really long, and this is really an effort to change the entire urban mobility pattern in Dhaka. So I turn to Mr. Wohab. Mr. Wohab, fascinating project. Please share your thoughts and tell us a bit more about the project, the benefits that are envisaged and so forth.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon to all. You know, Bangladesh is a very densely populated country. Almost 190 million people are residing 150 square kilometers. And down to Dhaka city is 307 square kilometer and residing 38,000 people per square kilometer. And we are expecting in 2035, the people will coming 30 million in Dhaka city. Nowadays, the speed of Dhaka city with the motorbike roughly 6.4 kilometer. And we are thinking by 2035, it will coming 4.7 kilometer. So you understand it is less than a walking. So there is no alternative. We have to use airspace and also underground. So for that, we have no alternative other than metro. So that is one of the consideration. Second consideration is that we are hoping that we will become developing country by 2041. For that, we have got some SDG. There are some goals, like goal 3, that is we need good health. Goal 8, we need economical growth. Goal 11, we have a requirement of sustainable city. And goal 13, we have got several goals. Out of that, I am explaining that. Goal 13, that is the climate action. So all these things are culminating to MRT line, that is with the pollution free. Third point is that we are also signing with Paris Accord. There also we have to reduce our decarbonization. There also we need metro rail because it is saving a lot of carbon. So you understand, so why we need, because we are the pioneer, we have started metro rail, though line 6 has started December 2022, and there are huge response. I am coming a little bit later. So fourth point is that considering all this, our government has taken a step in 2012 that we have to go for metro system. So considering that, government has taken a step that 4 metro system will be there. Line 6, Line 1, Line 5 North, Line 5 South, Line 2, and Line 4. Out of which 4 is under construction, 2 is in pipeline. So by 2030, we are hoping that all the metros will be there for the transport of the people in Dhaka city. So I am here with only MRT Line 5 South. That is also, I think, last on my, that the construction will complete by 2030. That is called MRT Line 5 South. So MRT Line 5 South, I am telling little bit, that is the east-west corridor of Dhaka city. There are another one MRT Line 5 North, that is also east-west. And another 2 is MRT Line 1, that is from north-south, and Line 6, that is also from north-south. So we have got 2 east-west connection, 2 north-south connection. So MRT Line 5 South is almost 17.4 kilometer, out of which approximately 13 kilometer is underground and another 4.1 kilometer is elevated. our concept in our country by our Honorable Prime Minister that where it is densely populated, we will go for underground, and where it is the suburb area or less densely populated, there we will go for elevated. You know, the underground cost much more, 1:3 almost, even though we are planning such. So here also we have got lot of problem like the metro line is not profitable. So we are thinking for a station plaza and non-revenue expectation like TOD, all other area that has to be also incorporated in our line. I do not know, my time is over, so just I am taking some like the huge impact on Metro Line 6 that we have constructed, that we have completed December 2022. So all the statistics fail. In our feasibility study, it was said that within this 30 kilometers or 31 kilometer, 120 or 130,000 people will move from north to south, Uttara Diyabari to our Motizil. But nowadays we find 245,000 people are moving from north to south. So you can see the huge impact on metro rail. That's what I said. The traffic speed earlier from Uttara to Motizil, it took peak hour maybe sometime 3 hours, roughly 2 hours. Now people can go within 28 minutes from Uttara to Motizil. So you can see the huge impact. Another thing we have said that yes, the people environment, safe transport, and other thing comfortability during peak hour. Even people have to wait 2 to 3 2 to 3 set of train because they cannot hold the train waiting in the station. And now we are thinking, earlier we have planned for 6 set of train, and now we think that why we have done so, now we should have 8 set of train because to accommodate the people. So we are the pioneer in Bangladesh. I mean, very what should I say? Starting. So that is what I explained, that it is our crying need, and thank you very much ADB. They have supported one, and we hope so other 2 line is under pipeline. They also can extend their hand to support our metro rail. I said there is no snow bound other than metro rail in our Bangladesh. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wohab. As you described, it's a really, really ambitious project, very challenging project, and kudos to your organization. I think one line, as you mentioned, is already operational, doing very well, and you're taking such a big undertaking for several other lines. Continuing with Bangladesh, and Bangladesh has been one country that has really been very proactive, not only in urban rail systems, but also in developing, expanding, modernizing its main railway system, particularly the main corridor, which is from Dhaka to Chittagong and Chittagong to Cox's Bazar. ADB has been supporting the government of Bangladesh in these initiatives. Now, I think one huge challenge in this project was environment conservation. And we'll first show you a little video on some innovative solutions which were found for tackling this environmental problem, and then we'll discuss that with our environment specialist, Karma.
The Asian Development Bank is supporting the construction of a 103.5-kilometer railway line in Bangladesh connecting Dohazari to Cox's Bazar in Chittagong. The project aims to stimulate economic development, boost tourism, and enhance regional connectivity.
In this part of Bengal, the railway started in 1873. And our project alignment starts from that Dohazari end. There is a 9 station as we have started from Dohazari. It's a commercial and as well as a repair port.
This project is part of the Sasek railway corridor. In future, it will connect to even Myanmar and to Southeast Asia and to China.
Given that the railway line passes through several elephant corridors and 3 protected areas, Chunati Wildlife Sanctuary, Fasiakhali Wildlife Sanctuary and Medhakachapia National Park, several environmental protection and biodiversity conservation measures are being implemented as required by the ADB Safeguard Policy.
ADB is actively promoting green infrastructure. One aspect of green is making them wildlife friendly.
Along the railway alignment, the Bangladesh Railway has constructed a whole series of elephant crossing structures. We have one specifically designed overpass for elephants, which will be the first in the world. And then we have two designated wildlife underpasses, elephant underpasses.
This underpass and that overpass, and in between this we have several oversized culvert that has the height measurement of the elephant.
Along the other 97.7% of the alignment, which is 103 kilometers long, we'll look at doing sensor technology.
We are using artificial intelligence to use data we get from the sensors to make them intelligent, to then give us in real time the information if there is an elephant present or not. This is a thermal camera that pick up the temperature of the elephant, an optical camera that will have a visual inspection.
দক্ষিণ এশিয়ার একটি জীববৈচিত্র্যের একটি বিপুল পরিমাণ গুরুত্বপূর্ণ অবস্থানে রয়েছে চুনতি বন্যপ্রাণী অভয়ারণ্যের উদ্ভিদ এবং প্রাণী। রেল প্রকল্পের আওতায় 287 হেক্টর বনাঞ্চল করা হয়েছে হ্যাবিটেট এনরিচমেন্ট প্লান্টেশনের আওতায়।
The project has significant social and resettlement impacts.
Bangladesh Railways has prepared a resettlement plan. The RP is in line with the government of Bangladesh as well as the ADB's policy for involuntary resettlement safeguards.
Our project has the scope to do the livelihood improvement program. From each household, we choose one person to do the training.
রেলওয়ে থেকে আমাদের কিছু টাকা দিছে। এই টাকা নিয়ে আমরা আবার নতুনভাবে বাড়িঘর করছি। আমাদের সেখান থেকে প্রশিক্ষণ শিখাইছে সেলাই কাজের, দর্জি কাজের।
Bangladesh growth has been concentrated in Dhaka and Chittagong with good connectivity to Cox's Bazar. Every year, about 2 million people visiting Cox's Bazar, and that can improve significantly down the line.
I think a round of applause for this innovative solution. Karma, really fascinating measures. I think for any project to encounter these kind of environmental challenges are usually a deal breaker. You know, you would decide either to scrap the project or, you know, go for a completely different alignment. But, you know, these innovative measures are really commendable. So please tell us more about it. How did this come about? What was conceived, and you know, how did you come to this particular solution?
Thank you, Sharad, and thank you very much for inviting me to this session to talk about my favorite project. So I have been working with this project since 2015, and Markus was the mission leader back then, and I feel very fortunate to still, even though I've moved departments, to still have the opportunity to continue supporting this project. So the project, as you saw from the video, is very challenging, particularly from the ecological point of view, under environment safeguards, and also from the social safeguard point of view. And as we learned, Bangladesh is a very densely populated country, so there was also huge resettlement impacts. So for the ecological impacts, we started right from the early stage where we looked at the alignment, and like you said, you can like sort of scrap the project or go ahead with it. So at the very beginning, we studied the alignment. There were the 3 sanctuaries that you saw in the video, the 3 national parks, and we tried to sort of shift the alignment so that it would try to reduce the impact, particularly the habitat fragmentation within the protected areas as much as possible. So we tried to move the alignment as much as possible to the edges. And then once the decision on the alignment location was made, then we had a lot of detailed surveys, fieldwork, which was carried out to really understand the biodiversity. And in this particular instance, it was mainly the Asian elephant, which was the key wildlife species, which was, at high risk from the railway line. And that area where currently there is no railway line at all, it's just highways and roads, and there's elephants, all over the place. So for sure, there is a huge risk of elephant train collision, which we are already seeing in India and Sri Lanka and, other parts of Asia. So through that process of detailed data collection, we were able to really identify the location and numbers of points where the elephants were crossing the railway alignment. And this was done through really detailed, on-site surveys in combination with collecting data through camera traps. So it was a combination of that and data collected continuously over a period of 1 year to make the initial decision. And then we continued, we still have consultants, who are collecting the data like to this day. So under the project, a combination of different measures have been included in the project. Particularly for the elephants. So one is the structural measures where we have, as you saw, the underpasses. And then we have the world's first elephant overpass. By the way, in the video, it was still under construction, but now the overpass was completed last year in August. And we had the first wild elephant crossing in November last year. And since then, elephants are using the overpass full swing. So we're very happy with that. And we also have sort of funnel fencing to prevent the elephants from, crossing the railway line in places where it's not supposed to cross, and then kind of guiding them to go to the underpasses and the overpass. And in addition, we also had other measures like improving the habitat, which was also shown in the video. So through the improvement of the habitat in the protected areas, because the protected areas, the habitat was quite degraded. So by improving the quality of the forest, creating salt lakes, waterholes for wildlife, it kind of influenced the behavior pattern of the elephants, where they were spending more time inside the sanctuary rather than venturing out and, like raiding crops and crossing the road and the railway line. So it was a combination of, sort of structural measures as well as the biodiversity conservation. And then I guess I'll get to talk about the sensor technology later. So I can talk more about that later. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Karma. That's really fascinating. And I think they say elephants never forget. So I guess once they've figured out these overpasses and underpasses, this will be their routes and pathways for all future travel. So fascinating. And I think you mentioned some technologies which were part of this, which helped in the monitoring and development of this system. And then let me turn to Maria again, who is, I guess, representing a company which is really into railway technologies. And Maria, I think one huge challenge going forward is the maintenance. As you know, railway systems become more elaborate, as there is more pressure to run more trains in limited amount of time, the time required available for maintenance gets more and more limited. I think there is a huge need for technological innovations to support that. So please tell us about what your firm is offering to support these.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Mr. Saxena, for your question. As you mentioned, Mermec is a company that is approaching for over 30 years in maintenance and diagnostic solution with the aim to investigate the state of the railway infrastructure, putting at the first the safe transportation and prevent accidents. As of today, based on UIC statistics, actually the Asian truck utilization average is up to 6 times to the European truck utilization. For sure, as we know, due to the high density of population, and as we've seen from the graphics before, it is also, there will be also an increasing about the density of population in the next years. So this is the reason why the Asian countries have the strong commitment to invest in a modern concept of the railway maintenance that are capable to improve traffic congestion, reduce traffic congestion, improve air quality, and promote a more sustainable urban expansion. On the other hand, we know that the management of the railway infrastructure is a quite difficult matter because of the high cost. So in this regard, we need to shift toward the new solution, moving from cyclic maintenance to on-condition and predictive maintenance, as cycling maintenance is high and time costing, yes. So the modern diagnostic is based on innovative technologies and permit to collect in real time a large number of data that helps to hit this target. These data are processed and transformed into information. So we have actually two types of measuring system. On one side, we have a dedicated vehicle that we can call measuring trains that runs on the railway and take the information and the data necessary to perform the solution of the railway. And then on the other side, we have the systems that are installed beneath the coach and on existing train, for example, on passenger trains. And also in this case, the train passing is able to collect a very large number of data. So the measurement, yes, using different type of sensor, optical or inertial in principle, and the KPIs are for sure measuring the speed of the train that is strictly linked to the speed of the train, accuracy and reliability of the data, predictive modeling using machine learning methods, and capability to measure up to 500 parameters of the railway on a single platform. So using measuring train, we can have several benefits, such as reduce of pollution, maximize the cycle of the life of the asset of the railway infrastructure, and so on. Thank you.
Very, very interesting, Maria. I think I remember my old days in the Indian Railways when it used to be all very manual and all the inspections were visual. And these recording cars, these sophisticated recording cars taking, sort of literally millions of measurements in a very short time can really pave the way. It can really reduce costs. So really fascinating. You did, have you been supplying these in any, or are there plans to supply in any of the Asian countries?
Yes, in Philippines, actually, we are delivering measuring trains, a vehicle, on next year in 2025, and is connected to the North-South commuter project. Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. So, Markus, now let me turn again to you. I think we've talked about some huge projects. We've talked about technologies. But we also heard the Director General of UIC mention huge numbers needed in terms of financing all of these initiatives. So from ADB's perspective, to what extent are we able to support these big projects, these big initiatives, and what are the options on the table that we are providing to our clients?
Yeah, thank you. ADB, as I mentioned earlier, we are having this climate shift, so our operations moving towards more projects addressing climate change, and we have this target of providing climate financing in the amount of $100 billion until 2030, which is quite a challenging target. But to enable this, ADB also approved what we call capital adequacy framework, which basically has re-evaluated ADB's capital and has made up sufficient space for additional borrowing capacity that can be offered to the developing member countries of ADB. And this is especially targeted for projects that are addressing climate change, so our railway projects and also climate resilient road projects and so on. They have opportunity to access this, and especially to finance like these large scale projects like the suburban railway projects or the metro projects, also rehabilitation and expansion of existing railway networks. We are therefore providing especially what we call the multi-tranche financing facility, which is a facility providing, proving at one point of time large amount of financing for a project and then actually delivering it in tranches as the expenditure goes. So we are developing the project together with our executing agencies upfront, and then as soon as the first tranche of money is used up and the project is progressing well, it's following all the agreed requirements, including like safeguards and procurement and so on, we can approve subsequent tranches. So this provides us a good instrument to finance, especially these growing needs for this transformative project, flagship projects for the countries in addressing the needs in the transport shift. And another interesting facility I think we can provide is also what we call project readiness financing, is financing support in the design phase in case this is not done by the executing agency on their own funding. ADB can also provide a loan support to take care of the design of these large projects, which also is like a really significant amount up front that has to be invested to prepare good design, so that also later on good bid documents will be prepared, that good bidders will join the bidding and also then deliver the project as designed and on time.
Thank you, Markus. Clearly, a lot of instruments, a lot of flexibility on the table. In fact, for everyone, ADB's loan offering is now called the flexible loan product, flexible being the operative word. I think, as Markus explained, it can be done in a variety of ways, can be offered in a variety of currencies as per your preference to reduce the burden, interest burden and charges on the projects. Mr. Singh, let me turn to you, and I think we've been talking about transit projects, but the other sort of related aspect to all of these transit projects is transit-oriented development, urban development. And we often talk about this, but very few projects are able to make headway. We have the trains up and running, but the urban development kind of lags behind. In your project, we understand that a lot of good work was done in partnership with the state government. A lot of headways were made, I think, for the first time. So tell us a bit more about the TOD aspects of the Delhi Meerut project.
Thank you, Sharad, for bringing up this particular topic. This is a railway system which is linking two cities. So intercity, and there's in between these two cities, there is a lot of area which is yet to be developed. Generally, it is a ribbon kind of development, but from the day one, we were very particular about this, that we have to bring in the tools of TOD and value capture financing. We worked with the state government of Delhi and the state government of UP. We got the existing legal framework, the laws modified with their help. We drafted the transit-oriented policy because there was a issue of capacity with the state government. They had not seen this kind of interventions earlier. So our teams worked with the state government teams, with the development agencies, particularly the Meerut Development Authority and Ghaziabad Development Authority, two districts in between. We could convince them that we have to provide these transit-oriented development planning components in the master planning. And I'm happy to share with you that state governments, they agreed with that approach. They understood the value in it. And they understood that if we will not interfere at this stage, or if we will not bring in the instruments at this stage, this unearned profit which the private landowners or the private property owners will earn, a part of that can be captured by these instruments. So which will help in developing the infrastructure around the stations and part of that will be plowed back to the project for sustainability of the project. So we are supporting the state governments in developing the zonal development plans around each of the stations. We got some of the policies where the FAR, the floor area ratio, could be increased to 4 or 5, and especially the at a radius of say about 1500 meters from RRTS stations, which are distanced at about 6 to 7 kilometers, and about a strip of 500 meters around the MRTS alignments. And we estimated that this will give about 30,000 crore rupees INR over a period of 30 years, which is quite substantive for state exchequer. And we held various workshops, conferences, sessions with the local bodies to make them understand how this will be implemented. Now in last 1 year, now we have got the rules and regulations also framed for implementing the TOD policy. And this is helping finally the cities in getting developed in a very, very planned manner, especially the areas near stations. Otherwise, they would have got congested very soon. Because as the property values will increase, people, the private owners of the land would like to go for constructions which are not sustainable. So what we could ensure now is that the development can take place in a very, very sustainable manner. And simultaneously, the state government and the transit authority, that means us, get about 50% of this value capture, which is very small part of the transactions which are taking place. We have seen in last 2 years, the transaction velocity has gone up almost like 10 times in the area where the government was not able to sell their flats or the land. Now the land values are gone 10 times. Because actually what is happening, we are linking places which have a differential of almost like 60 times of the land value. In Delhi, where the land value is very, very high, in some of the areas which this system will be linking has very low land values. And the capturing a part of it on every transaction of various kind of transaction, whether it is a increase in the floor area ratio, or it is the developmental rights which are being given on the agricultural land, or the change of land use. So in the process, we are able to integrate the transport and land use. So land use planning is going hand in hand with the transport system being implemented. This will not only that support in terms of revenue generation for both the authority as well as the transit authority, but will help the development which will be beneficial to the residents of the city, and especially the people staying close to these stations.
Very interesting, Mr. Singh. I think in the past, the tendency was to just focus on the transit corridor, getting it built. Implementing such a complex project itself was challenging, but it's great to see that transit companies are now looking at the wider urban development initiatives. And as you said, I think this is really a win-win, because it brings in additional revenues for the project. It'll bring in additional ridership, obviously, from the people who are staying in close proximity. So great initiative. Mr. Siddique, if I can turn to you, and I think, I don't know whether you remember last year, The Economist published a rather critical article on the Indian metros, and the criticism was on the ridership. And I think the point being made was that the ridership projections are usually very high and, are not realized. And it went so viral that the ministry actually had to issue a clarification and gave various arguments. Now, your project is quite interesting. I think it had similar challenges in the beginning, but you've managed to turn around, and the ridership has now grown so much that I understand you're now going to be approaching ADB for an additional loan for financing rolling stock to cater to all those additional passengers. So how was that achieved? We'd love to hear about that.
Thank you, Sharad. See, just to put in the perspective, pre-COVID, our ridership was just about 1.4 lakh a day. And post-COVID, it took time. Immediately post-COVID, it started with 80,000 and slowly started picking up. 1.5 years down the line, 1.5 years from now, past, it came to about 1.8 lakhs. Today, it is 3.1, 3.2 lakhs every day. So it's been picking up very fast. This is the overall picture. Now, what has happened in this period? Now, actually, we have very consciously promoted, the best trick which we learned was be in the news continuously. So Chennai Metro Rail is continuously in the news. So it's, everybody wants to explore the rail continuously, thanks to the big project which is already underway in our city. Apart from that, we also realized that, the metro travel is price sensitive. So we have offered, a discount of 20% on all online transactions. And we have intensively pushed online ticketing. We have given a bouquet of, ways of buying tickets through WhatsApp, through Paytm and large number of apps. Almost every app, popular app, now sells our tickets. So that is the other thing which we have done now. Thanks to that, initially there was a lot of reservation, 20% discount on this would have an revenue implication, but actually we have gained through this entire process because of the corresponding rise in the ridership. Apart from that, we also seen that, it is very important that, people find it difficult to, it is necessary to initiate people into metro rail system. It is not just that easy because, there is a hesitation to enter the metro rail system, particularly for those who are not that educated and that this thing. Earlier, when we had 2 years back, we would have only, white-collared IT going types and coming by the trains. Today, everybody travels. Everybody travels. That's the difference. It has really become a mass transport system today. The reason again is, we have done a lot of activities for initiating people into the system. We have had, even, we have tied up with big events, any big event which happens in the city, which is along our corridor, we have tied up integrated their tickets with us. So, including IPL ticket, the World Cup, or any big musical program which takes place, everything, their tickets, we have integrated with us. That is, they don't have to buy a separate ticket. The same tickets, barcodes, and QR works in our stations ticket system. And that way, introduce a large number of people to our metro system. And because of that, once they taste the, convenience and, they pass through the ticketing, AFC gates, etc., which is actually initially they hesitate to enter. Once they do after that it is just a breeze. So these are the things. Further, we also had, increased our parking facilities substantially. The numbers were increased. We have improved on our LMC, last mile connectivity. It's still a lot more to be done on the last mile connectivity side, but it's work in progress. And also, while doing all this, we also do it in an environmentally sustainable way. For instance, we have completely done away with these tickets at paper. We used to issue paper tokens at the counters. We almost completely done away. It's substantially come down to about 20% of what it used to be. We did it in January this year. And we used to consume almost 1.33 empty metric tons of paper every month. Now it is just about 0.3 metric tons of paper every month. So this is we just give the tickets on the WhatsApp app, which is very popular, and given the penetration of smartphones in India, and so it has been very useful. Similarly, we also for parking side also we do not charge anything for electric bikes and others. So we encourage. So we do all this in an environmentally sustainable way. So all these have actually helped us increasing our ridership. Thank you.
Very, very interesting, sir. I think one lesson is that managing directors of metro systems should not just be technical, they should be excellent at marketing to really attract the ridership and do all of these innovative things to get people to switch the mode. Mr. Wohab, let me ask you, I think you gave us a very nice intro about the project and what it will achieve. But clearly, Dhaka is a difficult city to work in. And I think this is the first time Bangladesh has taken on this huge challenge of this metro system. So, what are the challenges that you are specifically encountering in Corridor 5, the southern route that you are in charge of and implementing?
Thank you very much. It is a real challenge and huge challenge. So, considering the paucity of time, I will highlight few of them. First of all, the geological condition in Bangladesh. It is a deltaic plan. The soil is very soft. Though our feasibility study says so, there will not be any problem. However, we had few tunnel beneath the Karnofuli River. There was no problem. There were a small few length of tunnel in Dhaka city. Though line 5 south will not have that problem because line on and line 5 north is before me. They are going to construct. So basing on that, we can have our protection measure. But as per feasibility study, it is not. So we anticipate there might be some geological problem. So we are taking precaution accordingly. So the challenge, we have got two aspects. One is particular to Bangladesh aspect, another is the technical aspect. So first of all, I am telling the Bangladesh aspect, first on geological. Second point is that, utility relocation. In our country, it is not that much organized. It is some sort of haphazard. So once we do the tunnel boring machine and also the station under cut method, so there will be a lot of shifting. By now, by 3.5 years, we had a lot of meeting with all the stakeholders. They are agreeing, but definitely there will be problem. The service it is on, that cannot be discarded. So we have to have alternative method. Then we need to have our construction. So you understand that is a big challenge. Like WASA, telephone, Titash, all other things very sensitive. It's everyday people needs that. So you cannot discard and do that. So you understand what is the, day-to-day requirement that we cannot overrule. Third point is that traffic management. I said earlier how much traffic it is. So at this moment, the traffic congestion is very difficult. But once we start the construction, every after 1 kilometer, we need to construct a station. So TBM machine is going, there is no problem. But station, it is stop cut. We have to stop it. So in on station, it will take minimum 18 months to 24 months. So I have got 11 underground station. So subsequently 4 or 5 stations we have to start simultaneously. So we need to have coordination among those so that we within 5 to 6 years we can complete all the stations. But we have taken few measures, like one part of the road will be under construction, next part will be open for the traffic. Second point is that maximum construction will be at night. The construction site will be away from the city. The construction will be there. We will install there from 12 o'clock to morning 6 o'clock. Third point is that during, the diversification of the people move. So from the road, we have got alternative route. We will try to solve those. So considering that the police and other thing, we need to coordinate that we are doing. But even though we know that this will be very big challenge, and again, the transportation of soil, we will have 350,000 square meter of soil need to transport from Dhaka city. So you understand, it is a huge challenge. So what we did for the tunnel, we will the conveyor belt, either side. For that, the standard method is that maximum 3 kilometer tunnel for one contract package, but for that we have increased 6 kilometer. So either side we have got 2 rivers. Through that we can transport soil up to the river side. From there, river craft, the water will take. So there will not be environmental pollution. But you think the station, 11 station, we need to cut the soil. That has to be transported through the transporter. So transportation of soil has got 2 problems. One is that traffic, because round the clock we have to take the soil. So if we consider from 12 o'clock to morning, so it will not do. So that is one problem. Second problem is that the spoil of soil in the road. So that will be huge environmental problem. Nobody will like it. And in the rainy season, that spoil will give the accidental problem for the road, the skid of the vehicle. So this is a huge problem we are thinking. Third point is that land, the land in our country is very small. So land acquisition will be a big problem. So we are trying to have less land so that our construction will be easier. Another big problem is that, beside the road, all the high-rise building is there. So there are some safety distance, 3 to 5 meters distance has to be there. So to keep that distance and going beyond, beneath the road, that will be a big challenge. So somewhere we are doing double-story tunnel. And earlier feasibility study, it is said 2-story of station. That is also not suggested due to safety reason and orientation with the people. So somewhere we have to shift the station. And some of the station it was kept inside river. There was Hathijil water catchment area. That we need to shift because inside water, some station it is, I think, too ambitious, costly and other things, safety management. So these are what we are facing. And there is also, at this moment, scarcity of electricity. Huge electricity is required for this project. However, our Rupur atomic the power station is coming up. So we hope for after that we will have sufficient electricity there. However, we are also planning some renewable energy in our station, solar power. So our expectation is that 8 to 10 megawatt electricity will be produced for that. So this is what is our own problem. But we have got another problem. We don't have any, I don't feel shy, because at this moment, all the material, technology has to hire from abroad, from the foreign country. We don't have that much technology in terms of manpower, in terms of equipment, in terms of whatnot. So here we are some sort of a spectacle that, yes, whether should we get it as per our compatible one, whether should I get as per our standard one, and the manpower sometimes is coming, whether they are meeting with our requirement or not. So these are the things we are struggling, but day by day we are building up of ourselves so that in future we can take over. And learning from line 6, we have taken also a lot of measures so that we can overcome all those. And again, I'll get a little bit time. The cost of the project, you understand, the cost of the project is huge. So very few projects around the globe it is profitable. My Indian, the counterpart is there, they also know that whether it is profitable or not. So there are some other means we need to think that I have said earlier, and also increase the rate of the people. So here understand the people will not like to increase the fee of the transport. The India is also facing, I heard from DFRC. So here is also a problem. So always we have to think for non-revenue income, and that is also challenging. That's what we are thinking at present. However, considering all those, we don't find any impediment. Definitely we can go ahead, and we are trying to do that. There are a lot of challenges is there, so that will remain. And another challenge, though after operation we may think that yes, the using of card, that's what he said that yes, nowadays things is changed. Earlier, in the first time, 2023, earlier, people are shy to use card. But now once they find the vending machine has got a big queue, now they have purchased the ticket. So this is how habit of the people are changing. And again, one thing, the use of card, the people has to be mass more. Otherwise, that is also a problem in our country, in our continent, South Asia. So there is also a challenge. And also integrating with other transport. We have got a BRT, we have got Dhaka elevated expressway. So government is trying to have it on loop so that one ticket can have all this system. So I think considering all this, and I hope by 2030 or 2031, we will be sufficiently equipped enough so that MRT Line 5 South will have smooth running and smooth profitable organization. I think I have taken much more time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wohab. I could see a lot of worried faces out there when you were reeling out those long list of challenges, but I'm glad you ended on an optimistic note and very best. We are running a little short of time, so I'll just request for us to be brief. Karma, I want to quickly ask you, we've been hearing about these metro projects. the environmental assessment is quite important, but then, there is always the question as to what extent do we do all these environmental assessments. In India, for example, EIAs are not legally required for metro projects because they are considered environmentally sustainable. So you have these clients sitting, beside you. How do you convince them of the importance of a very thorough EIA environmental assessment for these kinds of projects?
Okay, so like you had said, I think in the very beginning, with or without EIA, I mean, having a proper EIA versus not having can either make or break a project. And it's actually international best practice to conduct a proper EIA. And we all agree that railway is much more environment friendly, it's low carbon in comparison to road transport. But if we don't do our homework properly, it can go terribly wrong. And with railways, and you all know very well, once you've constructed a rail line, it's there forever, And if there are houses that are going to be impacted with noise and vibration, that's it. They're going to be impacted forever, and there's going to be a whole host of complaints, and there are a lot of NGOs that speak up against you. So, and which is, I think no project director wants to have a project where you have constant complaints coming to your project. And also in reality, particularly the noise and vibration in metros, in densely populated cities, that is a huge factor. And during the construction, because we heard how much soil has to be removed, huge quantities, concrete, and then we're talking about elevated underground, and there's huge risk for accidents and people dying. Not just the workers, even the public, who are using the road where the construction is going on. So if you are not careful, it can really go terribly wrong, have lots of deaths, have a lot of long-term impacts of noise and vibration. And if it's near heritage structure, there's also risk for, damaging to the heritage sites and also affecting, tourism potential. So I hope I have convinced.
I think that was very convincing. I could see lots of nods there. Maria, over to you. I think one issue is that we've been talking about creation of all these assets and how to actually manage this asset inventory. What are the data acquisition systems? How can technology help us?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Saxena. Okay, we can start in to say that when we collect a large number of data, commonly known as big data, we should know how to manage them. And to make this data usable, and they should be stored in a single asset data center and processed by powerful decision support system tools. For sure, this helps to identify the problems, for example, on the railway infrastructure, and perform about the solution. So that's why the creation of a national asset data center where big data can be stored and processed can be considered a milestone for the future of any railway system in any country. Also because actually the information are fragmented in many databases, so collect them in a single platform could be the solution. Another point, important condition is the asset inventory. This is possible through the digitalization of the railway network. In this way, every asset is stored, classified and monitored, and can be fully or partially automated. So imagine if you have a digital picture of the Indian Railway, thanks to the interaction of the information, digital asset and data, we can soon know where the defects are located, and so we can perform the maintenance operations. As concerned the Italian experience, in 2020, Mermec was awarded by Italian National Railway, RFI, for the digitalization of the entire railway network that is consisting of 25,000 kilometers and 2,200 stations. The digitalization was made through ground survey, aerial survey, and on-foot survey. The result of this survey is the collection of several data through orthographs, maps, and point cloud, and so on. So these data are merged to be navigated in a single web-based platform. And the results was more than 30 assets that were extracted with the precise location and characteristics. So I can say at the end that the identification of the precise location of the defects simply very much the maintenance operations.
Excellent. Thank you very much. That was great. We have a couple of questions, and these are mainly pertaining to modal shifts. Railway is a low carbon sector. How do we incentivize modal shifts from other modes to the railways? I think Mr. Siddique had already covered quite a bit about the initiatives and innovative measures for moving from other modes, particularly to the urban rail system. So we will not elaborate on that. I think just sharing with you, ADB is working with the Indian Railways, for instance, Indian Railways to incentivize and bring more freight and passengers to the railway system, has created a dedicated business development unit in each of its divisions and is now developing a detailed strategy as to how this can be incentivized, and we are supporting the railways with the technical assistance in this regard. I said in the beginning, we are the railways, we should run on time, and so let us conclude this very fascinating session, which has been a landscape of so many perspectives from very interesting projects, financing, and technologies. It's been a very interesting conversation, and I think the conversation can certainly continue outside this halls as we conclude this session. Please join me in thanking all of our panelists. Thank you very much.